All right, we are going to be learning how to measure the mass of an object using a balance. This is a balance. A couple things you need to know about the balance. The pans come off. The red pan needs to stay on the red side. The yellow side needs to stay on the yellow side. This in front is called a slider. The slider needs to stay at 0 when we start because we want that balance to be balanced. When you go to carry the balance, the inside underneath of the balance is hollow. Please don't stick your fingers up inside because you're going to end up breaking the pieces. So when we carry the balance, you're going to have your hands on the outside of the balance. But don't rock like this because you'll end up making a mess. This part of the balance is really what you're going to focus on the most because this is what allows you to know if the balance is balanced. You need to make sure that that black pointer that moves back and forth as the balance goes back and forth, that pointer is directly in the center pointing down at that longest line. So you can see that if I can get this balance balanced, that it is pointing at that center line. There's one other part of the balance that you need to know, and it is right here under the red pan. It looks like half a paper clip. It is actually it helps stop the balance. When you put something in, it moves back and forth over and over and over again. You can use this thing to slightly tap in. You're actually pushing your finger towards the center of the balance and gently. You don't want to bend it. It doesn't need to go very hard. It's a very small movement, but it will help slow that balance down. So those are the parts of the balance. Let's go ahead and get started talking about how we use the balance. All right, so we want to measure the mass of an object. Mass is the amount of matter in an object. We're actually looking at the atoms and molecules that make up that object, and altogether, what is its mass? So the definition is the amount of matter in an object, but I often like to use the word stuff for matter. Matter is the science word, but stuff really is the word we want to use because we're looking at the stuff that this item is made of. So how much stuff is there? So we're going to put this item in the red side. And if you'll notice when we put that in, the red side goes down. But it can only go down to where the metal hits the metal. So it's not that it's a heaviness, it's just going down till it hits the metal. So what we're going to do, the reason why this is called a balance, is we're going to balance something we don't know, the rock, to something we do know. These are called gram stackers. There are yellow ones, and they say on them, you don't have to memorize, they say 20G. G is for grams, because we measure mass in grams. I also have a whole bag full. And inside, there are green ones, and the green ones are marked 10 grams. And then there are blue ones, and they're marked 5 grams. And then I have, and you'll recognize these from other things, but I have these cubes, and these are 1 gram. So we're going to start by finding the mass of this object. We always start with the biggest amount first. So I'm going to put 20 grams in the yellow side, and you'll notice that 20 grams does not equal this rock. They are not balanced. 20 grams is not enough, so I'm going to put 20 more in. Still not enough. 60 in, still not enough. 80 in, still not enough. And 100 in, still not enough. Well, you'll notice my bag, no more yellow ones, but 2 green make 20, so we're going to put 20 more in. And you'll notice that, this side goes down. That means there is more stuff in this side than there is on this side. Please don't say this is heavier. We use that word, but I'd like you to get in, try to understand that it's not that it's heavier, it's that there's more. So I'm going to take out that 20 and put in 10. And you'll notice that it's closer, but 10 is still a little bit too much. And I can tell because the needle is pointing that way. So I'm going to take the 10 out and put in 5. Now, oops, my 5 is not enough. So I'm going to use, I don't want to put a 5 in again because 5 plus 5 is 10. So I'm going to put 1 in. That's not enough. 2 in. That's not enough. 3 in. And you'll see that my balance starts to move. So I'm going to use my little stopper on the side, and then I'm going to get right in front of it to see if I am balanced. And I'm not quite balanced, so I'm going to put 1 more in and use my stopper to see if I'm balanced. And you'll notice that I'm not. So this is where it becomes a little tricky. The slider allows us to figure out a 1/2 gram. Now you need to be really, really clear. That little point in the middle of that metal has to point right halfway between the 0 and the 1. You can't have it just kind of where you want it. It's not, you don't make it balanced. We go with what we know. So this is a 1/2. So you can see that my rock equals all of this. So I have 20, 40, 60, 80, 100, 105, 106, 107, 108. 108 grams of what I know equals the rock. They are the same. So I can say that my rock is 108 grams of stuff.